Hey everybody, it's your man Type coming to you with another story. Yep, that's right, a true spook story. Before we begin, I would like to ask you to please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the content if you're feeling it. Now, without further ado, this story takes place in the Lake Man Garden Apartments off Ivy Lane Road in Orlando, Florida. This story is about me. That's right, me, Tyke. This may come as a surprise to some, but I was a virgin up until the time I was 17, 3 days before my birthday, before my 18th birthday. Picture this, True Spook TV subscribers. Every day after school, I would go to the basketball court in the center of the complex and play basketball with my friends. EJ, Millsap, Top, Marlon. We would just have a good time. Now there was this apartment upstairs that overlooked the basketball court. We never saw anybody come in or out of this apartment the whole time we lived there. The whole time we played on the court, the whole time we played flag football, tackle football, we never saw any activity from this apartment. So one day, I go to the court to play a little ball. Nobody's out there. I'm alone. And I'm throwing the rock. Boom. Banking. So around by 4:30 that day, I remember like it was yesterday, around by 4:30 that day, I look up at that apartment and I see the window blinds shake. So I'm like, oh man, activity. So now I'm thinking, okay, it ain't no spook in there, ain't no ghost in there, things cool. Somebody do live there, Kids, we had an imagination. We used to sit out there and say, oh, that's some old lady or serial killer. We used to come up with some crazy shit. Now, as I'm getting done playing basketball, it's time for me to go home, get ready for school, all that good stuff. I had to walk through the breezeway where the apartment was in order to get to my mother's apartment. So as I'm walking through, I look upstairs and I see a lady leaning out of the door wearing a burgundy robe. And she waves at me. I wave back. And she tells me, hey, could you help me fix this light bulb? And being the gentleman that I am, I'm 17, I'm still a kid, I'm cool. I say, yes, ma'am, because she was an older woman. So I go around, I go up the stairs, I set the basketball down in front of her door. And she said, you have to take off your shoes to come in my house. And I can respect that. My mom used to make us take off our shoes to go in the house and everything, so I can respect that. So I took off my shoes, set them by the door along with the basketball. So I walk down the hallway into the room next to the bathroom. And I go in there and I change the light bulb for her. As I'm coming out, she's standing there with her robe on. Didn't look like she had anything on under it. So she says, how are you doing? She asks me my name, and she's just clutching her robe with it closed. One hand covering up the cleavage, the other hand covering up the lower part. So I didn't feel sexually threatened or anything. Just, we was talking. But being a young hormonal kid, never having sex before, I couldn't help but acknowledge this woman's beauty. And my God, she was beautiful. I'm gonna give you a description of her. She was about 5'11", very full figured, slender waist, thighs, ass. I remember her skin was a glowy bronze. beautiful sister from the late 90s, early 2000s, if you can remember how the Ebony Sisters looked back then. She could have been on a perm, on one of those perm boxes, just beautiful, hair flowy, and she was just in that robe and she was looking good. I mean, breast poking out, and I'm like, oh my God, like this chick is like naked in front of me, and I'm a young man, so all this imaginative shit going through my head. What if she do this? Ooh, I'm gonna tell the boys that I hit and ripped. No, and I didn't have no intentions on screwing that woman. But I was gonna lie to my homeboys because we never knew who lived there anyway. It ain't like they gonna go up there. They thought a serial killer lived in the house. So she's up there laughing and she said, well, how can I thank you for helping me out? And I said, there's no problem, ma'am. I said, if you need me, just call me. I'm always around. And she said, would you like something to eat? And I said, yeah, sure. So she says, I had some spaghetti. And I made a joke with her. I said, my grandma told me don't eat no woman spaghetti. And I started laughing and she's like, oh, okay, yeah. Then she said, I also have some meatloaf, mashed potatoes and string beans. Would you like some of that? And I said, sure. Now, people, I love meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and string beans with beef gravy. That's my favorite food, okay? She knew this. Keep that in mind. So I sat at the table, and it was like it was freshly made. Like, it was freshly made. It's like when I walked in the house, I didn't smell any food cooking. But when I sat down at the table, she was taking everything out of the oven, and the mashed potatoes was fresh churned. It was steaming and hot, and she fixed me a plate, sat me down at the table. But she was treating me like I was her husband, like I was her boyfriend. She pulled my chair out. She put me a nice lemon lime soda on the table next to the plate. She made me wash up, and she even made me change into a shirt, like a dress shirt. I had to take off my dirty shirt, and she made me wash up really good and put me on some dress clothes. So I'm sitting at her table wearing a nice shirt, and the shirt fit me well, people. I mean, like, this shit was designed for me. So then she lit a candle in the table. She poured her a glass of wine, and she sat down, and we both had dinner together. And she was eating, and she was just talking to me and flirting and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know, I've never been treated like that before. I'm being romance and shit. So I say, okay, well, it's getting a little late. I gotta get ready, to get to bed. Gotta get in the house at a certain time. And she said, okay, well, can I see you again? I said, you gonna always be able to see me. I'm always gonna be around when I get out of school and things, and I get off the bus and I just come play ball. I said, just wake me up if you need me to help you with anything. I'm thinking that was the last encounter, people. So a day passed, go to school, get out of school, didn't think nothing of it. So I'm out there playing ball again. I'm the last one on the court because for some reason everybody just scattered. I'm the last one on the court. It's about 4:35. It's about 4:30, 5 o'clock again. I said, oh, well, let me go home. But keep in mind, the only way to get from the basketball court to my place, the shortest distance, was to go through a breezeway. And here she goes again. As I'm walking up, she has her head out the door, and she has on the same robe. She has on the same robe and everything, and she's just looking even better today. She just say, hey. She say, hey, Tyke, come on up here. And I say, yeah, all right. So I'm still referring to her as ma'am at this time. I say, yes, ma'am. So I go up the stairs, and we get to laughing and talking, and she say, I got some more meatloaf. I say, I'm pretty full today. I say, me and the boys, we went and got a burger from Mr. Lee's. And she was like, so sit down, have a talk, sit down with me. I don't do nothing, I don't go nowhere, I ain't gonna bite. And we started laughing and joking. So as I'm sitting down in her living room, and there was always a glow of a red light coming from somewhere. I didn't really pay attention to it, but I just can remember in my mind's eye. we laughing and talking, and she asking me what I'm gonna do when I graduate school, and we just talking and just enjoying each other. Like, I mean, like we're dating, like on a couple scenario type thing. Well, she said, I know this is the time where you typically go, but she said, if you want, I already ran you a bath. I could just go heat the water up and you could take a bath here. And I knew my mom had left to go to church and she wasn't going to be home till about 9, 10 o'clock at night, 11. So I had a little free time, and now I'm like, oh shit, I'm finna get me some. So hell yeah, draw the bath. So she made me wait in the living room. She gave me a glass of wine. I drank the wine. It was bitter as fuck. I didn't understand wine at the time. It was bitter as fuck. I'm like, Jesus, who drinks this? And so after she got through drawing the bath, she said, you come on back. And she had candles all around the tub, rose petals littered the bathroom, and all of that stuff. And I'm like, oh man. So I go in there and I get in the tub and shit, and she sits on the edge of the tub and she's bathing me. And I keep seeing a red glow from under the bathroom door, but I'm not paying attention to it again. It's just red glow. She had red window blinds and window drapes, so I'm thinking sun cat. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was thinking I'm finna get laid. So she bathes me. Scrubs my back, washes my hair, towel my head off and everything. And I remember she say, okay, get up, get out the shower. Get out of the tub. So I stand up and I step out on another towel, and she towels one leg off, she towels the other leg off, and she pats me dry. She didn't even rub me, she patted me dry all over. All right, it came down when she got to my manhood, to my peen. She even grabbed that and she toweled that down. And I wasn't ashamed of my ping. I ain't ashamed of my ping. Thank you, Jesus. I say that. So then she hands me this burgundy robe, the same color as the one she was wearing. But it wasn't a full body robe. It was like a man towel skirt. And I remember looking at the tag on it, and the tag read, the designer was Pierre Cardin. And I'm like, Pierre Cardin, that must be kind of fancy, because her robe said the same thing, Pierre Cardin. So now I'm walking around her house naked in a towel, feeling like a well-kept man. So she leads me to her bedroom. It's draped in red lace and stuff. She had a canopy bed with red lace and stuff. So this is my first sexual experience. Things kick off one day or another, and at that time, I never had done anything, so I didn't know what to expect. So I'm in there with this woman for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I still didn't climax, and she's like, oh yes, I found the right one. I found the right one. She just kept saying that, yes, yes, yes. So it's come about 9 o'clock at night. It's time for me to get home before my mom come home. And I said, I gotta get in the house for my mom. And she said, all right, take off the robe, leave it here. And she said, don't tell your mother about us. And I'm thinking, who the hell I'm gonna tell? Except my homeboys, whenever this is over, I'm gonna show no blast that ass, So I go home and I'm in the bed, and that's all I can think about. I'm dreaming about this woman. I'm going crazy. I'm just losing my mind. So the next day, same thing. Now I'm sneaking up to her apartment with the idea like, okay, I'm in love. It was something that just was drawing me to her. And I'm skipping school just to be up there. And as I'm skipping school, I'm sleeping all day and doing it with this woman all day long. And no matter when I got up and got ready, she was always ready. And I'm like getting up and I'm going home, and I'm so tired. It's like I have no energy, and I'm dragging in the house. I take a shower, don't want to eat what my mom cooking. I just go to bed and I crash. And my mom used to say, that boy done got somebody pregnant. And And I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm like, I don't think I got her pregnant. I don't know. So this went on for about a good 3 weeks. Some days I would go to school, some days I would skip school, but it was always end up with me dealing with this woman towards the end of the night. So I'm home, I'm sitting on my steps, my porch in my breezeway, and I'm looking directly across the driveway at her house like, oh yeah, it's about 4 o'clock. I'm getting ready to go up there and I'm finna get me some. So lo and behold, my grandmother comes pulling up in her Buick, and she was like, Pat, where Tyke? And my mama was like, he should be outside. And I had just gotten ready to walk over there because I had went the back way. I walked around the back of the apartments and I was gonna go up the fence line and cross over at another complex down so they wouldn't see me, where I was going, and I was sneaking her house through the back way. So now my grandma hollers, where's Tyke? And I hear her say, where's Tyke? So I quickly circle back around because that's grandma. I say, I'm over here, grandma. She say, Pat, look at that boy. You don't see how that boy getting skinny? How he losing all that weight? Something wrong. My spirit telling me something got hold of that boy. And my mama like, boy, what you been doing? You went into no witchcraft devil shit. And I say, ma'am, no. I say, I just don't be eating. And my mom was like, well, he don't eat that much at nighttime. So maybe he on a diet trying to lose weight, lose his baby fat. And my mama started laughing. My grandma say, shut up, this ain't funny. There's a demon fucking with that boy. So now I'm thinking, this is before grandma really got hope of me. I understood what grandma was saying about magic, but I didn't, don't trade on my parade, grandma. I'm getting me some. It's 2 days before my birthday, be easy. So I'm sitting up there and grandma's was like, she come look me in the face. She say, who is it? Who is she? Who is she? And I couldn't lie to my grandmama, so I held my head down in shame and I looked up at the lady apartment. So my grandma said, go on over there and get the bitch, knock on the door. So I go up there and I knock on the door and the lady sticks her head out. And my grandma say, you janky devil bitch, you stay the fuck away from my grandson, taking his seed, draining my baby. You janky devil bitch, you don't stay the fuck away from him. I come up there and kill your ass. I blow your fucking head off. And my grandma, she carried that 32 revolver always. And grandma will bust your ass like it ain't nobody's business. And the lady was like, oh, I'm not doing anything with him. Only thing I do, he helped me change a light bulb or two, but I'm not having sex with him. And the lady looked at me in my eyes and my grandma was like, boy, you fucking that bitch, And I couldn't lie to grandma. I say, I did a couple times. And my grandma say, oh, stay away from him. Stay away from him, you janky bitch. And the lady like, I ain't gotta take this. And she goes in her house and she slams her door. So my grandma grabbed me by the arm and she pulls me to my mom's house and she say, Pat, don't you let this boy come out of the house for about 24 hours or 48 hours, because if he do, you ain't gonna get him back no more. He gonna die. And I didn't know what she was talking about. Still, I don't know what she was I didn't know what she was talking about. So my grandma came over later that night and she was hitting me with ammonia, lime, salt, coconut water. She was praying over me out the Bible. She was doing a bunch of stuff to me, man. I mean, she had me in that bathtub fucking me over, man. I mean, that's all I heard was wind blowing while my grandma was talking. I couldn't even hear the words. So that night, the first night was very hard for me. I was tossing and turning, sweating, and the only thing I could think about was getting to that woman's house. And it's like she was calling me and she was calling me. And I'm like, I need to go over there. And I'm like, I'm gonna devise a plan to sneak out the window, probably knock on her door 2 in the morning. I'm thinking about everything. So when I look out the window, to jump out the window to go to the woman's house, I see I see my uncle and them, and they out there partying, chilling on the green tank, and they looking at the window. And my uncle like, Tyke, get your ass to bed. You ain't coming out that house, because my grandma had warned him. So then I say, well, let me get up to go use the bathroom. So when I got up to use the bathroom, my mama had told my brother to make a pallet in the center of the hallway floor. So if I was to go past him, he would instantly wake up and usher me back to the room. So they had a nigga locked down, y'all. So 48 hours passed, I'm still jonesing for this woman. I'm going crazy for this woman. I don't know what, I didn't even know the woman's name. Only thing I remember, her name started with a K, and I'm gonna say it was Kim. And I wanted this woman bad, and she was calling me in the middle of the night. I mean, she was calling me. And nobody ever seen this woman leave her house. Nobody. So 2 days pass, my grandma comes back, been in the corner with her Buick, short dog blue. She was real for it. And she like, all right, Pat, he can come out the door now, but just make sure he stay away from that bitch house. That hoe ain't right. That ain't no woman up there. That's a whole motherfucking devil bitch. And my mama was like, okay. So my mama used to make sure I get on the school bus. I go to school, and I was hoping the lady would come pick me up from school. I was hoping I would see her at the corner store. I was hoping I would see her at Mr. Lee's market, but I never seen her. So one day, I'm getting off the bus. And let me tell you, another favorite food of mine, Tribe, is grilled corn on the cob. Now, it's like when you get at the fair, when you pull the stalk back, the leaves of the corn back, and you salt and butter that bitch, and you grill it like that, and the butter and the salt melt. I love that shit. So as I'm getting off the bus, off the school bus, the lady, she comes up to me, and lo and behold, she has 2 grilled corns in her hand, and they was hot. And I'm like, I've been to her house and I never seen a barbecue grill, a barbecue pit, nothing. But I can see the char, I can smell the char. I was delectable about this thing, right? So I grabbed the corn, and I'm about to eat the corn. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And status quo, I'm finna get back up there to the house, so we can deal. Out of nowhere, my mama just appeared beside me. Boom. And my mom, she wasn't no skinny lady, but she wasn't no big lady. But I'm pretty sure from where the bus stop at in our apartment was, she couldn't be in that corner that super fast like the Flash. And next thing you know, my mama just appeared by me. Ho, leave him alone. Leave him alone. And the lady was like, huh? The lady started spooking out and shit. Now, this is the first time we ever seen this woman outside of the house. So now I got to see her in the sunlight. And she was even more prettier in the sunlight than in the shade, in the red glowing shade of her house. So my mama come up there, my mama slapped the corn out my hand, and it falls on the ground. And she slapped the corn out the lady hand, and it falls on the ground. My grandmama, here she go, been in the corner again in that Buick. Tires balling, the car hopping. And my grandma say, bitch, what I told you? And so I looked at my grandma. Now it took the time frame for me to look at my mama, look at my grandma. It had to be I'm gonna say 4 or 5 seconds. I turned around and I looked back. I went to look back at the lady to look at her face. Tell me why that lady was gone. She wasn't even in my face no more. And I'm like, damn, I say, damn, boy, people running fast. So now I'm thinking I'm trying to rationalize it, saying I probably stared at grandma and them too long, and the lady ran off and shit. And my grandma came up there and she slapped me all around the parking lot, everybody looking at me, get my ass whooped. It's 18 years old now. I get my ass slapped around by my mom and my grandmama in the middle of the parking lot of the project. That bitch ain't real. She a demon. She a devil. Stay away from her. Stay away from her. So now my grandmama goes up there to her house and knocks on her door. And my grandma has this holy water or some concoction she had made, and she was splashing it all around the lady porch and on the lady door. And she was like, you devil bitch, bring your ass outside. You jinky bitch, bring your ass out here. I'm gonna send you to hell. You taking my grandson's seed. He pure. He pure. He got a great seed. He gonna have great offspring. And he's like, you don't get to take his fucking seed, bitch. Get out of here. And the lady was like, get off my property. I'm gonna call the cops. And all of that stuff. And my grandma kept throwing that holy water and throwing all kind of herbs around the lady porch and sticks and shit. It was like a debris garden, man. Like a vegetable debris garden. And grandma even kicked over her little plant that she had by the motherfucking door, because she had like a snake plant by the door. Grandma kicked that bitch over and say, don't go up to that whole house. She gonna kill you if you go back up there. She ain't gonna live. You gonna be a dried out old man. And so after grandma was doing this, so now grandma done moved into my mama's apartment, and she stayed there for like 7 days. So I used to get off the bus, and I used to see Grandma Buick parked right there at the end of the car park. So I'm like, oh shit, Grandma, let me be lying straight home, because Grandma gonna fuck us up. So for 7 days, Grandma was there. Now I finally seen, so I look up there and I'm staring at this apartment. I see the lady start moving her shit out of the apartment, and it was always a gold Nissan Altima parked below. We never knew who owned it. It was in pristine condition. It never crunk up, never moved, nothing, because dirt had blew under the tires and was settling. So the lady came down, and it was her car, and she had a couple little tote bags and shit. And she waved at me as she was leaving, and I waved back at her, and she blew me a kiss, and she got in the car, and she took off. Never saw the woman again, people. It's finna get spooky now. That wasn't spooky. That was just storytelling. Now it's finna get a little spooky for you. Now I can talk to my homeboys, and I'm telling my homeboys, man, old Kim upstairs, that old lady, dog. I say, I was dicking her down. I was laying hard, man, mad meat into her ass. And they was like, what? Yeah. And I say, man, y'all crazy, nigga. I was getting that thing. I say, she gave me this robe and everything, and because I kept the robe. Now, this is the only evidence I had that this shit happened outside of me, my mama, and my grandmama, because I kept the robe she had me wear. So everybody was like, Tyke, don't nobody live in that motherfucking house. I'm like, what? And like, Tyke, ain't nobody lived in that apartment. That apartment always empty. I say, we used to say a serial killer lived in there. He said, yeah, we used to say a serial killer used to live in there. And I say, go on with this fuck shit, man. I say, the lady, tall lady, fine, got it going on. And he say, no, man, that lady lived that long time ago. She had to move out because some shit was fucking with her. Say, that apartment been empty. I say, but the curtains and shit still up there. So he say, ain't no curtains up there. So we rush over there, we EJ, all of them, we go there and we look upstairs. Tell me why the apartment looked like it was empty, people, like ain't nobody lived there in a while. So we go up there and we get a screwdriver, we break in the apartment. It was just 2-3 days the lady had moved out. It looked like nobody was in the apartment at all for years, months. So I said, this shit ain't real. I say, I'm tripping. So everybody laughing. So then the big boys came around the corner and everybody started picking at me. So about 2 or 3 of the big boys, they like 25, now 26. They like, you talking about Kim, right? I say, you know her. They said, yeah, man, Kim was my first. I said, she was my first. And then all of them like, that's something that me and the big boys had. Kim was my first. I said, Kim was my first too. And they say, everybody say Kim wasn't real. They told me ain't nobody live in that apartment. They say she always in that apartment, bruh. They say, I remember the lady I remember the lady used to feed me. The lady used to buy me nice clothes and shit. She even gave me some robes and some fluffy slippers to wear and shit. And the only thing she wanted was some dick. And she said, and I'm like, oh shit. I said, that's what I'm saying. So I had found out that this lady Kim was screwing everybody. So as I grew up, I'm 22, 23 now, doing my thing, got a little friend girl, a girlfriend. I can't get this lady out my head, so I'm looking for her. Sitting up here looking for her, I'm asking everybody around, So I had a older friend named Rufus at the job I was working at, and he said he was from Zellwood. And I asked him, I say, because I remember her telling me she was from Zellwood, Florida. I say, hey man, did you ever meet anybody by the name of Kim out of Zellwood? Because Zellwood's such a small spot. He said, I know Kim. I say, man, what's Kim's number? And he was like, oh, I never talked to her like that. I say, I know Kim. He said, man, watch out for Kim. That's all everybody tell us, watch out for Kim. I said, what you mean, watch out for Kim? He said, man, everybody know not nobody should be trying to fuck Kim. Something wrong with that lady. She off. Say something just ain't right with her. So I'm like, that's crazy, because I know in my heart of hearts that I done knocked this woman down. I know that a couple of the homeboys, a couple of the homies, they done knocked the lady down. This ain't no coincidence. So the effects of what that lady did to me lasted for years, till I was like 27 years old. Now from 17 to 27, I was searching for this woman. I would drive to Zellwood, passing by the mushroom factory, the corn factory, hoping that I would see this woman or just see a car. And I mean, I know that was a far-fetched, but she had a lock on me like that. So that shit subsided, everything subsided, and it got gone. I'm better now, I wasn't doing nothing. I had a little girlfriend, I had some kids and shit. I'm doing decent. Kim out of my mind. So now I'm hanging out with Rufus in Apopka, Florida. That's a couple miles away from Zellwood. So lo and behold, I'm grown. I see Kim in the corner store. Kim is a little older, got a little gray hair in her head. And I say, Kim? She said, Tyke? And I say, what's up? And she laughed it off, we laughed. And I'm like, you know what? Let me hook up with you, we can talk, let me come see you. I'm trying to put my mat down. She say, baby, you too old for me. I say, too old? I say, I'm just right, I'm 24, 25. She say, I like him a little younger than you. She say, but you take care. And she got in a nice little expedition, a big ass truck, and she drove off. And I'm like, the fuck just happened? And me and Rufus go to laughing. Rufus say, oh, you hit Kim a long time ago. He say, man, that bitch ain't nothing but the devil. Nobody fuck with Kim or Zellwood or Popka. That's why she had to move to Orlando where your dumb ass was. And they laughing and joking with me. So I'm like, the fuck just happened? So I felt rejected, and that was the biggest loss I ever felt. So fast forward a little bit, I met a dude named Sherman. He was from Zellwood. Now I'm in my 30s. And I was telling, and Sherman was a preacher. So now I'm telling Sherman, hey man, you ever seen Kim? And he like, yeah, I know Kim. He like, oh. Say, oh yeah, Kim. Say, my church, my congregation just went to Kim's house, and we had to exorcise all the demons that was around that woman. He say that woman moved again. Say after our church did that, she picked up and left the house that she was paying for. Just left her car and everything. She disappeared. I'm like, what? And he said, yeah. I said, man, you playing. And all the while, so I go and tell my grandmama, I said, grandmama, you know that lady back when I was like 17 going on 18 that y'all stopped me from sleeping with? And my grandma said, yeah, I remember that jinky hoe. That bitch was she didn't use the word succubus, but she said another demon name. But it was a demon that drains the essence and the life force out of little boys, out of young men. If you, right before you turn 18, or like after you turn 15, right before you turn 18, in that range, that's what it's demon. And I don't know the name to this day. That's what this little female demon entity do. And she say she was one of them. And say, baby, she would have drained your seed. She would have dried you out. And she was saying stuff like that. She would have dried you out. You wouldn't have been no good for no woman ever. And I say, grandma, but I like that woman. I really like that woman. She's like, baby, you don't like the woman. That was a demon effect. She said, that's why grandma had to clean you. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you, grandma. So time passed. I never seen this woman again after she rejected me from the store because I had gotten too old. Now I know why she said that. And there you have it, people. My first sexual experience was with a demon, an entity. Now, some of you guys will look at this story and say, that ain't true. This man making it up. But 7 other men from my neighborhood who witnessed this woman, who dealt with this woman on that level, cannot be wrong. And I still, to this day, have the robe she gave me. The maker was Pierre Cardin. As I look on the internet right now, they don't even have that style of robe anymore. But I have it. It's all tattered and worn and torn. But I have it. It's at my dad's house in a box. Maybe I'll bring it out and show it to you guys on live one day. All right, everybody. I'm about to get out of here. I'm tight. Telling you guys, sometimes the rainbows chase you. You don't have to chase them. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.